The only one who says Alpha Delta Christian says it too, when that reason, that's like, cause it just rolls off my tongue, like, when I'm talking fast, like Alpha Delta, like, let's go. Alpha Delta, best friend. And wait, what's your family? What is this?
It's like a calm sheet.
Kind of scared.
Yeah, it's like if I ever get confused, I just say, yeah. You have this like screen stuff. Really? Oh, just all the frequency. Yeah, it's like frequency. Yeah. Might hit any other airports yet? Yeah. What? You might hit any other airports yet? Yeah. Which did you do that? I went to Montgomery and Ramona. Montgomery can get busy. That was rough. Dude, that's how we were like with Aaron, and you couldn't even understand what the other guy was saying. It was so fast. Yeah, I had like a jet coming straight for me. Did you do any pattern work? What? Did you do any pattern work there? Dude, it's crazy. Yeah, we did. You're like, oh god. For their right pattern, you just have to go straight to your down. You don't have a cross. Yeah, it's pretty much because of the Bravo. I mean, yeah, it's more rounded out, like. Yeah, dude, it was intense getting there. But it's good to have that exposure. It's also nice to like when you're starting out, you can really just focus on. Yeah, a lot of the comms are getting a lot easier. Like if I don't hear it, I'll just be like, sorry, I couldn't understand you. Can say it again. And sometimes they'll be like, let's get it this time. I'm like, sorry, buddy, you spoke too fast. I can't hear you.
Who said that?
Tower. They're pretty good. Yeah.
There's
They
like
know if you're like,
if
you're looking at Sling, they're like, all right. Like you're kind of special. No, there's one of the. Over in Montgomery, there's a woman. I don't know if there's multiple women. There's one that she was pretty like. I'm gonna correct it later. I'll just like the right answers. Did you do open book?
Oh, these are all right though, right? Pretty sure they're all right. All right.
Yeah, those are all right. But once you get to like the. People, like great. Like I think all that should be right. Did you open book it or? I did as much as I could for like memory, and then I think I only answered like 5 in the POH or like online. So I try to, yeah, if I can do as much memory as I can, and writing it out really helped me. Yeah, it does. Like what I think I'm probably gonna do is for the paycheck, it's probably just write a bunch of flashcards.
Yeah.
That'd make a quiz.
I'll probably do both. Yeah.
Quizlet actually, I can look at it and then the answer's right next to it. So
Yeah.
Like flip the card.
Yeah.
Just like the match and the test. That's what I did for like.
Yeah, and then there's like even the game that they'll do it like, they're like all sides, you literally go down.
Cause I used to do the test or all of the like easy stuff. Like ASIC.
Really?
Yeah, it was something.
Oh, but your flying requirements are like, like you get your. Oh, really?
Want to cross country? So you're gonna then go up and all.
Once a year, we'll go down. But I remember like keyword. Like something that like.
Which I was like fine with, so I was like, let's just do some ground.
Stand at the base, you're kind of overflying.
Yeah.
Yeah. It sucks that you didn't get to know it. It's all for.
You could have done traffic pattern.
Now that I
Yeah,
have my
actually,
flying,
yeah.
my flying.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, I was
No,
more like that.
every time I fucking laugh.
I used to be like, I really was like, oh, it's good on time, come on, get this stuff going. I'm like,
Did bro like leave?
I've been waiting for so long for like medical certificates, school transition, things like that. I never really- If I was 7, 8.
Not all the
I
time.
would-
Tell him.
Yeah.
Then I would be like,
I'm a fucking stalker and be like, ah, what are you doing?
but I was like, cool, I'm getting this, it's my own pace, whatever, like.
He doesn't
Yeah.
feel like it's money.
And you have Colin, right?
Calm down.
Colin makes it all. He's usually smart. He's really smart.
He's very methodical, like, I like how to break things, so it's like, for me, it's like, it's easy for me to get overwhelmed.
Same.
with a lot, like if there's a lot of like new things going on, and so it's just like my eyes keep moving around. I'm like, so having like, hey, I know how to set my seat, like. For me, all that stuff, like all the things I don't know really starts to add up. So once I start getting playing,
Yeah.
you're like, okay, now I have to do comps. So it's just like, I have like this fuel gauge.
we
That just kind of like, so it's nice to go in there and
That's
like.
literally the only thing sometimes I
No, it's
roll
about the
and then everything else that I do know, but he's like, come on, you know, that's like, why, and I'm like, I don't know, like, I can't think right now. Like,
I think definitely not. I feel like
yeah.
will be. I think bro, you have you have it, like, I'll just get. You should connect it, it's like some come back here.
Oh, yeah.
Tower talking to me and I'm just like, no.
Yeah.
I'll share it, like, hear a call sign at the end when they're talking to me, I'll be like, I don't know, they just said, call them.
Yeah, same, sometimes when I'm like so focused, I like don't hear them, and he's like, did you hear? And I'm like, no, I'll just say it, and I hear what they said, like, I'm too focused right now, like.
Understand, hear, understand, repeat back.
Yeah.
Like,
Unless you want me to turn that cross my early, don't talk to me.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah.
Back at you already. Or did you have a jet or something, like?
Yeah, there's a jet, I'm just following right behind me, it's like, I'm sure. Turn across like now, it was like, I turned it, as soon as I turned it. I realized my time again, I feel like. Maybe not. Clear, but. Do it on muscle.
Yeah.
And like across the tree. Maybe like in the best, like. Sorry, radio check, and use a lot of your feeling so.
Yeah, I have that, yeah.
I'm just gonna make flashbacks. I was like,
Yeah.
I want to think, you know, like that into chat, GPT, and it's like, maybe that's good.
But they are. Oh, yeah, I want to try to learn about like some hours, like, you know, some certain dating or something like that.
So are you using the,
Only have to.
you still using checklist? Or do you use the checklist on, because that checklist outdated?
This checklist is good.
This is the new one.
Yeah, you have to use a checklist every time. And the past couple of flights.
Well,
I mean, like,
just like, we had to update.
I don't really use it that much, and I think like, no.
Dude, because he kept saying.
Yeah.
So I'm like.
Yeah, like literally, yeah.
This is definitely like,
I want to go something with even. Even gets
definitely don't go on time, and I definitely don't check the fuel. She's got it down and I'm like, that's what I was like. I mean, I give it a glance, like, your tire's not flat, you'll see.
Yeah.
I don't feel like you want to like, it doesn't get like.
I feel like I'm pretty good at looking at everything, but I don't.
All right, how's everybody doing?
Well, how about you? Got it?
Running and gunning. Yeah.
Crazy day.
I fly with you on Monday.
I know, I saw that.
As I was following.
It's gonna be a fun flight.
Yeah.
Don't shower.
You really
Just be as sneaky as you can, so if he's gonna make it stressful, I need you to do stuff.
I'm actually getting.
Perfect.
Airman?
Don't forget.
We're gonna open the cockpit.
Double tape shut before you even get out.
Going in the cockpit, we're going for an emergency landing.
Convertible.
Next week is. And then. Good day, but trying to. Friday. Gonna be a long day now. I'm here and I have to go do some work.
Do some what?
Do some more work.
Yeah, it's a certain time gig.
Yeah. You. Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Great.
Good. Happy Friday.
How are you doing?
Hanging in there, tired.
How do you win? It's Friday.
Hmm?
It's Friday.
Friday, yeah,
I'm having a late coffee. It keeps me up to notch.
that's good.
What?
I need a
Late
matcha.
coffee.
So if any of you that aren't, if any of you that aren't on the class, attendance sheet that doesn't need to be here, wants to go get me a matcha from Santee Coffee Corner, that'll be greatly appreciated.
One of your students, right? That's who you're talking to.
Well, the only one, yeah. Oh, yeah, who's that?
Right?
Who's that, guy in the back?
Back left? Oh, it's like up on that. What do you guys think of that? Back middle? Hmm.
Something broken your internal dialogue filter.
Yeah, there's no filter today. Alrighty, so today's gonna be a long day, so we gotta get to it. Get to it.
Beautiful. You might as well. Okay. You might as well. Have the other side. One more time. Can't hurt. Good challenge. Seeking knowledge. A1 stuff. Gets like a 30. I'm not going, I don't know that.
What the hell?
Everything looks like very messed up. That's the single. Well, I think we changed it before, like scheduling right there. Yeah, did they change it? Yeah, they changed it. What day was that? Tuesday. It was Tuesday. Yeah, it was a Tuesday. You know, Friday on it. Friday, I don't know the answer. It's not sure. What's what day is it? Oh shit. Yeah, that's the worst one. I'll be going it with the first one, but yeah, that's against the other. Yeah, it's something else. I don't know, so I got it. Dinner. And see. I'll listen. We'll see if we can do it today. Yeah. I just need to get the simulated things. How much of yeah, I'll do that. I should make the ball missing the stat. That. I think I have to play. Oh, yeah. So either way, I'm also this was 10. Very cool. Two. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Good, 2, 4.
Take your guys' sweet time.
Like 15.
Take your time. Slow it down. Yes, you do.
Sorry.
Might be a wrong. I'll make a tack. Is this an application, I swear? Yeah. You did it. No.
I feel like today's a informational movie kind of day. Cloudy, it's Friday, we've gone through a lot of information.
Really great idea.
No,
It's me.
no letting up.
Foot on the gas, keep going.
I'm down to watch like Chucky.
Bro, what? Good movie.
I've never seen it.
Alright, let's see. We didn't do that.
Didn't I hear it all? I've taken this test 3 times already.
I've only not been halfway through something.
No, we started from the top. We went from the top. We went from the first question. We went from the first question.
That 97 didn't last long, huh?
No. We're back down into like this is great.
It's okay, you pick when it counts. That's right.
All that matters is what's on the record. So
I got my guess.
soon enough, do the same.
How's everybody else doing?
It was the wording, I swear.
What was that mean?
Well, no, maybe I'll just see if they're gonna be, I'm gonna dig it out. Oh my god. That's the ID. You're playing with you.
That's what I'm saying.
It's terrible. Oh, what's that?
The G5 runs off the same ADC and acres as the other instruments.
We don't know. I think so.
Well, let's look at
Yeah.
the Garmin G5 uses a backup instrument system for Sling, manual of aircraft replacing. G5 has long battery life as well as its own ADC and AHRS system.
When you're flying, look at like your G5 and your G3X and like look at your altitude and your airspeed and stuff, and they're gonna be different. Like they're slightly, like even if you throw the autopilot on and like on your G5, that's what the flight director like, it's like using the G3X, it's using that for like what altitude and like what airspeed you want to be at. And if you look at your G5, a lot of times it'd be like lower or higher.
Oh, okay.
Using the altitude. You can really see like the difference in like them having their own computer.
What symbols are the hex?
Yeah.
For the hex?
A lot of tell not about.
Vortac,
Oh, you gotta go eat something.
does it show the options?
The hexagon dot
Dot,
in the middle,
dot.
the circle with the dot in the center. The runway configured with a dot. Pretty sure it's
Not the runway configuration with the dot. For that hexagon, it should be.
Stack.
It's like hexagon with a square with a dot. All of the above.
Go back home when you. That's on 15, so.
What angular deviation in the sum of the or center line is represented by a full scale deflection of a CDI.
This was the other day.
So we have a CDI.
Oh. But I hate like this. It's like, it's just like.
And got it.
Wait, what?
Each of those little circles.
Oh,
there's
there's
2
two
degrees.
degrees.
It's a full deflection.
Oh.
So deflection from your CDI from the center.
There's only 2 circles, and they're 4 degrees each.
Mhm.
Do you get to leave after ground or do you have to stay?
After this?
Yeah.
No, I have a flight,
You think you'll actually fly up?
probably not. But then I have a ground somewhere else.
So then you just, if you don't flap it,
Which is
you're just leaving.
Nine,
Who'd you guys?
nine, about 6 1.
If I flap one, and I'll fly it out.
That's
Might be better too. Probably gonna be windy and stuff.
It's day one, it's not Friday, it's day one. Motherfucker.
It's Friday,
It's
bro.
not Friday. It's day one.
Oh, bro.
What?
What's wrong with some pancakes?
I just never gotten it right. What symbol would indicate a vortex region? X about the dot and no, that is wrong.
Gotta keep me accountable.
Runway configuration of the
Let's
I
talk
think
about
it's
that game.
when it's on the runway, like.
I'll show you what I'm about to eat this morning.
I get that too.
Let me see.
Pancakes won't be that, dude. I don't see that.
Bro, it's just carbs.
That's why.
No.
I don't know if they refer to these as the runway configurations.
No, I think it's like a.
I think it's like on the like
on
actual
the
section.
section.
Yeah.
Section, like how it looks in the section.
Los Alamitos.
What's the identifier?
I think you should talk about any airport that has a VOR. Right? Like, you know, like how it shows where it is in relation.
Yeah.
Yeah, you playing with JK? Holy shit, how many days did I take?
A lot.
4 days to go to 4.
Yeah.
It's not Friday, it's day one. Come on.
Block it out.
Come on.
What do we get today?
Yeah, there would be the dot.
And bye.
Yeah. But when you have the aeronautical chart, it has it like that.
Why is that?
And
And when the photo that it later asks, like what type of VOR, it's in the picture, it's that, and I clicked vortex and that was right. But then when it asks what it looks like in words, it was wrong.
Let's get a number range.
you have the right intentions.
If you're at an area of low pressure to an area of high,
Like you could have like 80 packet eggs.
and without adjusting your
Eggs are like gold.
higher than the actual.
18 packet.
Remember, high to low, look out below.
Love this.
Low to high.
I've noticed that the fucking food. The only time I went in there was with my dad.
Who's still working? One more, two more.
Pressure altitude, indicated altitude for non-standard temperature pressure.
Where's the other option?
The actual altitude of the plane compared to the ground. The altitude indicated by the barometric pressure scale, which is set to 299.
Okay, so if you set your altimeter to 299 it's gonna show you your pressure altitude.
Wouldn't that be indicated altitude? So it's set to 299. If that's like the set pressure of your airport.
Well, if the altimeter setting here at OSB is 3005 and you set it to 299 that's gonna show your pressure altitude while you're on the ground. So
You would have liked Brock.
But what if your airport's at
yeah.
Like a gnarly one.
Where's where?
because indicated altitude corrected for non-standard temperature.
No, it was like this.
Listen, that one's all.
It was this.
That's indicated because then you're getting.
No, I thought you had the BMW.
Oh, that's
The temperature and pressure, right?
Yeah, it should, I think it's gonna be the 299
Wow.
So the other one would be.
Yeah, no, it's like, it was the scary one though.
And then the other one is the indicated altitude corrected without an installation.
That one,
That doesn't even make.
No, that's what we, our ones
I was
are,
gonna say, no, they are.
our stations are worse.
I have, or, that's why I was like, no, no, I was 61.
Well, yeah.
I was like, I'm over it.
You see, you just like to chill. Hardly.
Oh, yeah, altimeter will
You
be.
know, I have a, it's a
So-
triple.
We will be higher.
What about that, bro?
But the altimeter will be
The same.
It doesn't.
So we are actually gonna be higher than what the altimeter is indicating.
I'm a square butt.
Do you just like to go fast occasionally?
Yeah, not as much anymore. It's like I have like, I don't have like sport tires.
Everybody done?
No.
Alright. Let's go over it together.
I have a question, Corey.
Yes.
You think I could get another endorsement for you for the IRA? This one expires on the 31st, and I didn't even use it. So like, we get to that.
Alright, number one. What angular deviation from a VOR core center line is represented by a full deflection of the CDI, such as what's shown right there? 10 degrees? Everybody agree? Which instruments will continue to function normally if the plane's PO2 becomes blocked? Everybody agree? What should you not do if you're lost? If the G3X ADC and AHRS fail, will the G5's information be reliable?
Yeah.
Which one?
So,
What type of VOR is depicted? A particular VOR station is undergoing routine maintenance. This is evidenced by
Triple like that. But isn't there like, you won't hear the signal?
Yeah, you
So-
want
you'll just hear static. It'll just be like
It's not.
really, really fucking loud in your ear.
And so it's like the 3-letter identifier is.
Yeah.
Oh, like you can't even tune into it. That's what that means?
So I mean, you could tune to it, but it won't, the CDI, like the center CDI, it won't be there. You
That's-
won't hear the Morse code, and then the 3-letter identifier might be there, but it won't be like lit up green.
Does that kind of mean like the ID thing too then? Like when you're actually in the plane and you do it? Is that what the,
Like the Morse code, or,
no, like, when you like tune into that of your.
oh, it shows the 3-letter
It
identifier.
says like ID in the top, like.
Okay, yeah, so that ID, if you click the volume button, it'll show ID. If you click it again, it'll take it off. So you have to have it on ID to be able to listen to the Morse code and like see the identifier. What is pressure altitude? The altitude indicated when barometric pressure scale is set to 2, 9 or 2. Everybody agree? Cool. So yeah, if you are on the ground here at Gillespie and the altimeter is 3005, you would set it to 3005, so you have the correct indicated altitude, which would then be equal to your true altitude, height of your mean sea level. But if you set it to 2, 9 or 9 or 2, whatever altitude that shows as indicated is going to be the pressure altitude. What distance is displayed by DME indicator?
Land range, just.
Everybody agree? Which instruments are part of the pedostatic system?
The fourth one.
Altimeter, airspeed, vertical speed indicator? Cool. If a flight is made from an area of low pressure, so this is kind of a confusing one. This one, it comes down to the wording. If a flight is made from an area of low pressure into an area of high pressure without the altimeter setting being adjusted, the altimeter will indicate
Lower than actual.
Higher.
I can hire, but that was. I thought lower.
You
So,
are higher than actual.
you are higher. There's the phrase high to low, look out below. So if you fly from high pressure to low pressure without adjusting your altimeter setting, the look out below means that you're lower than what's being shown on your altimeter, what's being indicated. So the opposite, if you fly from low to high, the altimeter setting, or the altimeter is gonna show lower, but you are actually higher. So just remember the high to low, look out below, and that's referring to you, the plane, are gonna be lower than what's indicating. And then the opposite will be for if you fly from low to high. Does that make sense, everybody?
Yeah.
When the course deviation indicator needle is centered using a VOR test signal, VOT, the omni-bearing selector and the to from indication should read
Second.
0 degrees from, 182 regardless of the position. Everybody agree? Good way to remember this is, I don't know, Cessna 182, 182, and then 0 degrees from. What symbol would indicate a vortex location on the airport? So this one's confusing depending on how you have your for-flight settings set up. So number 12. Runway configuration with the dot. If you go here to Seal Beach or Los Alamitos, it's going to show that sort of hexagon symbol, right? But that's if you have your aeronautical symbols on. As soon as you turn that off, it's going to show the dot with the runway configuration. So it just depends on how you have it set up. What does it mean when your to from flag disappears from your HSI while approaching a VOR?
You're over the VR.
Everybody agree? So usually you'll see the needle deflect to one side, it'll disappear, then it'll come back with the flag flip and then center. And that's indicating you're entering the cone of confusion and then you've crossed the VOR with the flag flip. The ADC combines data from the pitot-static sensors and temperature sensors. Everybody agree? And lastly, which instrument or instruments will become inoperative if the static vent becomes clogged?
Oh, then.
Cool. Any changes or submit?
No.
Cool.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Got me good. That's what I got.
Cool. So that's it. We still have an hour and 23 minutes left.
Thank you, Corey. Thank you guys.
Enjoy your workout.
So there literally is nothing. Okay, so written test prep.
Written test prep. So this could be, maybe we could talk about how to go and schedule it.
Yeah, I think scheduling, there's some things that, because I'm already scheduled and kind of worked with Kim, he gave me some different things that were helpful for me. And I could pass on what I learned.
Yeah.
In terms of like, not like, oh, how do you answer what's the right answer? It's like, oh, this is what to kind of expect.
Yeah.
Like what resources were helpful. Also, I had an electronic ERB. You guys are welcome to borrow it if you want, if you don't, so you don't have to.
Yeah, who has one already? Because this is gonna be next week. Next week, we start the cross-country planning and the E6B, how to use it.
I have that one.
Yeah, I was planning on having Aaron teach that since he loves it, but ironically, I think he's gonna be out of town next week. So that's gonna be like the manual one, and then you have the electronic one, which
Yeah, better.
in my opinion is a lot easier.
I think I can use that.
And don't get this one, there's another one. Do get
The one
that,
that like goes around.
yeah.
Yeah, you
That's the
want
one I got.
that one.
Wait, can I see? Where did you go get these?
So let's go ahead and go over how to schedule your written exam. So the company which facilitates the exam is called PSI. They don't just do FAA exams, they do everything. So if you want to go get your guard card to go be a security guard, you can do it through them. If you want to go get your food handler card to go and work at a bar and be a server, you can do it through them. So it's not just aviation. But the website that you will go to is going to be faa.psiexams.com. That's going to take you to this website right here. From here, you have to create an account, and you're going to need your FTN number, your FAA tracking number. Does everybody have and know their FTN? It'll be on your student certificate, I believe.
Yeah.
So you'll have to go create an account and use an authenticator app and using your FTN. Once you do that, you're going to sign in. It's going to take you to like a user agreement every time you hit agree, and then you will log in. Let me log into mine.
Do you have a super secret embarrassing password?
Kind of, yeah. So from here, I'm now going to my authenticator app, and I'm going to type in the code that it gives you. It resets every like 60 seconds or 30 seconds. And then it takes you to the main page. From here, you can, come on. The website's really slow. From here, it's going to take you where you can go and search any. You can have your completed ones, so all the ones that you've scheduled and taken. It's going to tell you that you've taken the exam, you've gotten notice, you've paid for it, you've scheduled it, and then you actually have recorded exam data. Active, if you have any scheduled, it's going to show it under here, but we will go to select. Who can tell me what the 3-letter identifier is for the private pilot exam? Oh, that's for the license. What about for the exam? PAR, private pilot airplane. So from here, you can see it pops up some results. Private pilot airplane, PAR, and that's for recreational and private pilot. You hit select, and then you will hit submit. From there, I'm not going to pull it up because I don't want to accidentally schedule it, but you will then select from a location, see what days and times they have available. You'll select that day and time and location, and then you will pay for it. And it's $175 for every written exam.
And you can reschedule it. Like
You can reschedule it, but I believe how you have to do it is you have to cancel it. They'll refund you the money, however long that takes, and then you schedule it for a different day. You can't just reschedule, you have to cancel and then schedule a new one.
So I got a voucher through my other school, that's why I already kind of scheduled it, like, and then so I just had it. When I did reschedule it, I hit cancel, and then I thought I was gonna have to do that, but then it just let me schedule it in order to change it, so I don't know if it's gonna store your credit.
Okay, maybe they changed it then. All the ones in the past where I've paid for without a voucher, I've had to cancel
It
it,
might be different with the
get
voucher.
refunded, and then schedule a new one. They might keep like that $175 like on in the system, so you don't have to pay for it when you reschedule it. But I remember from when I did it, you actually have to cancel that date. So now at this point, you don't have a date, and then go and schedule the date. You can't just go and edit the date. Let's see. Let me see if I can find.
When I was talking to Kim, she had said that Kings, if you do really well in Kings, you won't, you might do a little less good on the written as if you did degrees. I don't know if that's something that you can.
So like better in 40s.
Yeah, if you're consistently good in sporties, you have a better chance of getting a higher grade than if you're just doing Kings.
I mean, I can't really truly speak on that. Personally, I did not like sporties, so I didn't use sporties for any of my exams. Only Kings, and I still got 90s and above, so. The biggest is gonna be Shepherd Air. You do Shepherd Air for instrument on, you'll do good. Shepherd Air is literally the exact test questions that people take the exams, report to Shepherd Air, and they put them in one big compilation of questions, and all it is memorization. What I highly recommend though is complete the King's School all the way through, take notes, do the King's practice tests, then complete Shepherd Air. For private pilot, just do Kings or Sporties, whatever you desire. But for the rest, instrument on, do Kings, then Shepherd Air. So you have a base knowledge, and then you go and memorize the questions and answers. And then if you forget one, you're like, oh, well, I already did Kings. I know this information. I know the answer to it. So that's what I recommend. Big thing comes from the FAA website. What do you need to take with you to take the aeronautical knowledge test? So you're going to have a valid and current form of identification that has your photo, date of birth, signature, and physical residential address. So will a passport work for this? No, it will not. So for those of you that are all citizens, you can't take a passport. It has to be either your driver license, government ID card, military ID, passport. I don't know why they have that on there, because your address isn't on your passport. Unless
You just bring mail, like my driver's license is updated, and it's like in the system, I have the right address, but on my driver's license, they didn't give me an address. So I have to bring in mail. Right.
I would bring in like a lease agreement or stuff like that. There's a guy there that brought a passport and he got turned away and couldn't take the test for my private or for my instrument or commercial one. So when in doubt, bring your driver's license. And if there's any questions on whether the address is current, showing your residential address, bring mail showing that you live there. But it needs to have your photo, date of birth, signature, and a physical residential address. And then this is what's acceptable. Any questions or concerns on that? You have your exam scheduled?
Yeah, the 16th. Sorry, I think that's our last week of.
Probably. I think we have 4 more weeks left. For the PowerPoints, there's only going to be
Yeah, I've only got 3 more weeks on the calendar that pop up, so I don't know if they just didn't schedule last week.
okay, then maybe that's right. So we have 7, 8, not.
Okay, tell me.
I mean, we should have another one, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was.
Yeah, so next week is going to be flying cross country, so pilotage, dead reckoning, nav logs, E6B, more written test prep. Weeks 8 is going to be night flying, night loss procedures, human factors, aeromedical factors, which I really like the aeromedical and human factors. And then week 9, review of knowledge from weeks 1 through 8. So we'll review everything, and I need you guys to really be like, I don't get this. Let's go over that again, because it'll be really, really hard for me for a whole week to figure out what to go over. Like, I can't go over things if you guys don't tell me what you want to go over. Weeks 9, more review, more navlog practice for long cross country. And then we'll talk about the ACS review. So that's going to be the Airman Certification Standards. So all the standards required for the oral and flight portion of every single check ride. And then lastly, we'll do oral practice. So we'll probably do some mock orals. So how it'll go is one day I'll probably select one of you to be a student taking a check ride, and I'll be the DPE. Everybody else will listen in. We'll just do like an abbreviated oral and then see how you do. And then the next day will be somebody else and so on. We'll talk about how a check ride works and like what to expect. It's pretty straightforward. Every check ride is gonna be the exact same. It's just the information covered is different. So here we are, end of week 6. Are there any questions about scheduling the written exam?
How much time do you get?
Everyone is different, but it's usually 2 to 3 hours, depending on which one you take. Which is more than enough time. There's 50 or 60 questions on the private pilot exam. It shouldn't take you more than 2 hours. Yeah, I think every exam I was out within like less than an hour. So it's definitely doable to get done. As far as being eligible to take the test, there's 2 ways you could, or I guess 3 ways you could do it. You either bring in your King's at-home completion certificate. And that'll be sort of like, all right, this is saying that I'm ready to take this test. You can also get an endorsement from King's, sort of like a generic endorsement from John and Martha King. Or you can have your instructor give you an endorsement, but either way, it has to be printed out. It can't be on FlexFlight or on your computer or a picture of it. You have to have a printed endorsement or certificate of completion.
Okay.
I recommend bringing all 3 if you can. I try not to give endorsements to students until they bring me, I think it's a Sling policy too, but until you show your instructor 3 90s or above on the practice tests. The goal is to get it 90 or above. Passing is 70. Fuck that. If you show up with a 90 or above, it'll make your check ride a lot easier.
Can you confirm? Or just check and see, like, can a DPE see if you've taken the test multiple? Cause I know that was the one of the senses, like, we want to be there, but if they see like, hey, maybe you got an 83 and then you get a 90, are they gonna be like, let's look at 83?
Pretty sure. So I only took everyone one time, but it'll say right here, you'll bring them the most updated one, and it'll say right here how many takes you've done. So if you've taken it 2 or 3 times, it will say that you've taken it 2 or 3 times, and the DPE will see that on the most up-to-date one, which is the one you have to bring in. So yes, they will see it. You will, one of the endorsements you have to have on your check ride is that you reviewed your deficiencies with your instructor. So the worse you do, the more you have to review with your instructor before they can give you that endorsement. Also, the worse you do, even if you get a 70, you pass, you've qualified to take the check ride, but that's a lot of information that the DPEs can dig into. Most of the exams that I've done, the DPE, my private pilot one, they reviewed some things, like I missed questions on basic med. They asked me about basic med, but I reviewed that. But like on all the other ones, they're like, oh, you got above a 90. Okay, we'll move on. They don't even go into your deficiencies. So the better you do, it will make your check ride just that much easier.
How long did you study for?
Everyone's kind of different, but like my private pilot one, I had King School completed and my exam taken before I even started my first day at Sling. So it took me like, I think I studied hard for like a month or 2 And then all the others, like with finishing Kings and doing the Shepherd Air, probably about a month. Yeah.
Show us the Shepherd Hair website.
Oh yeah, I don't know. It's really sketchy. So it's gonna look like this. This looks fine, right? But you can't sign up on the website. You have to call the number and talk to some like call center to sign up. Yeah. But it's legit. So
Yeah.
you can tell them you're at Sling, and I think you'll get a 10% discount. It's like 40 bucks, 50, 45 bucks, so you'll get 10% off. And yeah, don't do the test study course. Just do actually, yeah, no, I guess it is a study course. But like private pilot, I wouldn't do it for private pilot.
I think it's free.
So the study course or like the study questions is gonna be what you're paying for, and that's gonna be like the 40, 45 bucks. But don't do that for private pilot. I don't know why, but I've just been recommended to do it from instrument on. But for private pilot, do Kings, do the practice test. There's gonna be very similar questions, do sporties if you desire. I just did Kings and turned out just fine, so. So what are we doing the rest of the time?
Oh.
Mm,
You guys have face checks, do you wanna?
I was just gonna start making some like flashcards or like a Quizlet for my,
How about we take a little bit of a longer break? We'll take like a 15-ish minute break. And then we'll come back and then have some topics for us to go over again.
Okay.
Or maybe it's like scenarios to go over.
Sweet.
Good.
Cool.
Cool. So let's be back. Let's be back at 12, like 15. And we'll use the last 45 minutes to either go over more practice questions or topics that we want to review.
Yeah. Huh? I got a question for you. So, the name of conflict, like technically covering up 15 degrees of that. I want to say, yesterday we were going to the emergency stuff, and we pulled that right out of your holster. Oh, yeah, for this thing? Yeah, it's like, that's what you do on your run up or whatever, emergency convenience, you have that emergency on the ring, you like how breaks, give your sex to it, or the undersing the feed, you know? It's just like pounded out, just stuck in the memory now.
Alright. Chris.
You good, man? Oh, can I reschedule it to get that? Okay.
What you're eating breakfast?
Yep. I got like really sick last night. So like,
Like cold or?
no, like. I like went through a debris with my buddy. Like when I was driving home. Felt like I was gonna pass out. I felt like really shaky, like nauseous, like really dizzy. Then as soon as I parked and I got home, I in my driveway, like not even couldn't even make it inside. And I didn't eat anything last night or this morning, so I'm like starving, but I don't know what happened. It was weird.
Maybe ate something weird.
Maybe.
You feel better today?
Yeah, I'm just really hungry. How's class going?
Good.
Feeling all right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That from here.
Yeah, so good. Is there anything that you two want to go over specifically? Are there any sort of instructional like videos of maybe some aerodynamic concepts that you want to like have a visual of?
I think what, for me, generally, conceptually, I'm following things, it's just whether or not I can retain everything.
That'll just take repetitive,
Yeah,
like studying and constantly talking out loud.
so that's what I mean, it's what I'm trying to think. What would be helpful to review?
Pave should be by memory, the system should be by memory. And then basic like
aerodynamics and like weather theory should be finite memory. It's like the regulation stuff that's okay to look up. Yeah, I know it's kind of, doesn't really help, but like you should know everything. You're not gonna know everything, so there are things you have to look up, but you should mostly know
For
everything.
dinner, right where they were about to close, and go hide in the bathroom. And then once it was like 10 p.m., we would come out, like we would just sit in there for like an hour and just, I don't know, do whatever we did. But it always worked.
Sounds like that.
Are there any topics you guys wanna go over or review again? Or that you don't understand?
Let me look at the fact sheet.
Or something that you wanna like. If there's any aerodynamics where you wanna like see like a video, like a visual of it to try to picture it more.
Something that might be helpful is, some of the, I guess, systems that aren't Sling, like carburetor stuff, constant propeller stuff. 'Cause those are things that we're using as much, as familiar with. Like there's one question was like, if you have a ground wire, or if you have magnetos and the ground wire gets disconnected, what will happen? And it's just like, you can turn it off, but they won't turn off type of thing, but like you just, not something you would really know, so that might be something we could kind of cover. Like,
So when
you
they're-
could p-hack that.
Yeah,
So when they're going over like this stuff on the base check, are they just asking you questions about
Mhm.
this? Like asking you questions about like what documents are required?
Yep,
Do you have a logbook endorsement?
yep.
What are the federal aviation regulations?
They'll probably just ask you specific things. So the federal aviation regulations, it might be something like, what are the privileges and limitations of a private pilot? You know, those come from the FAR of like, what are you allowed to do, and what are you not allowed to do?
Mhm.
Then
you can bring that, your FAR aim, so you can.
yes, but there's to a point, like you can use the FAR aim or any FAA resource, but people have failed check rides for using the FAR aim too much. Like you should be able to, if I ask you what is lift, you should be able to just describe it and not have to look in the P-hack to see, oh, what principle was that again? Like certain things you should know. The oxygen requirements and maybe aeromedical factors or the scuba diving regulations, like things like that. Maybe you'll like reference to those. But like in each of my check rides, I maybe only reference to the FAR aim like once or twice. Like you should know everything. What was it that you wanted to, oh, the
System, yeah, like that. All the systems essentially got arms.
Use that charger.
Yeah.
Alright, so we can go over carburetor. It might be better than reading out of a textbook.
Oh.
King's School, Martha.
Yeah. That's sort of like hiding away.
Check this out. I'm gonna show you how I afforded this car. Okay, you ready? $118 per car.
I declare Samantha.
That's how much I was paying, okay?
Let's unveil the carburetor and understand how it works. At its core, carburetor is all about precision mixing. It's like a chef crafting a gourmet dish. The carburetor combines the right amount of fuel and air to create a combustible mixture that powers the engine. Fuel is drawn from the fuel tank and air is pulled in through the air intake.
What is this?
These
Carburetor.
elements meet in the carburetor, where they're mixed and atomized. The resulting mixture is then sent to the engine cylinders, where it's ignited to produce the explosive force that drives the propeller. Now here's the interesting part. Getting that mixture just right. Too much fuel and the engine might flood. Too much air and the engine might run lean. So achieving the perfect balance is essential for optimal engine performance. Interestingly, the carburetor needs to be adjusted based on factors like altitude and throttle settings. That's where the art of aviation comes in. Pilots and mechanics work together to ensure that the carburetor is fine-tuned for each flight. In colder conditions, moisture in the air can freeze on the carburetor's surfaces, leading to carburetor icing. This can disrupt the fuel and air mixture, potentially causing the engine to lose power or even stall. To combat carburetor icing, pilots use carburetor heat, a feature that warms the air before it enters the carburetor. This melts any ice that has formed and helps maintain a consistent and reliable mixture, ensuring safe and smooth flight. Although aviation has evolved, so have carburetors. Modern aircrafts now employ a more advanced fuel injection system, which offers greater precision and efficiency. These systems electronically control the fuel-to-air ratio, enhancing both power and fuel economy. But don't let the modern technology fool you. Carburetors still hold a special place in aviation history. They remind us of the pioneering days when aviation was just taking flight. And there you have it, the carburetor, an unsung hero of aviation. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.
So does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, it was pretty
Generic.
generic, pretty light on it. Because some of the stuff that they'll ask is, what happens with carburetor icing? What is the engine gonna respond? When you put on carb heat, what should you see?
Yeah, you just want to pull up some of those questions? So I mean, essentially, like with the carburetor, its basic sort of function is that we, with our fuel injected system, the ECU, which controls the fuel injectors, determines how much fuel is needed in that fuel air mixture, right? So the air is determined by the density of air depending on our altitude, while the fuel is determined by the ECU and what the engine needs. In a carburetor system, we have to control the amount of fuel going in with the mixture control by either enriching it or leaning it. As we go higher up in altitude where there's less air or less dense air, that means we have to compensate and supply less fuel into that mixture. So the carburetor, essentially all it does is it's a device where there's the inlet for the fuel and it sits in there with the float, and then we control the mixture with how much fuel we want to let into the carburetor. The air is naturally coming in through like the manifold intake, based off of the air density outside. And then as we go higher up, we'll let less of that fuel in by leaning the mixture. And then those two then meet, and that then goes forward to the cylinders where the 4 strokes take place. As far as, you have it pulled up on your thing?
No.
As far as like what happens. Yeah, as far as like how the engine reacts to like the things, that's not something that's like widely taught here. Because we obviously don't need to worry about it. I'll say with flying Cessnas only a handful of times, my knowledge of the carburetor system really isn't par. The biggest thing I recommend for specifically for the written exam is you're not going to be asked about constant speed propellers or carburetors on your check ride. They're only testing on the systems you have. But for the sake of the written exam, I would just make it a memorization thing. Yeah, and that's really not a good answer.
I mean, that's kind of like where I am, so.
Yeah.
There's not, trying to think of things that would expose maybe them to it, well, help me reiterate it. Okay.
What do you mean by location and expiration date for required aircraft check?
Rewriting my notes from the face check because I scribbled so fast.
I would say that kind of piggybacks off of the required inspection, so looking in the maintenance logbook and finding out where those
Yeah,
inspections are and how to tell what's the most recent and if it's up to date.
Okay.
Yeah. Would it be helpful for you guys if I went and got the maintenance logbooks and we looked through them? As far as like the actual maintenance?
Probably could help.
Yeah, okay, we'll do that then. Let me go grab some logbooks.
I mean, I also had that one too, but then happened. That was my like it, but it's free until, unless you want like more notebooks, so if they give you free, but then if you want to do more, you run out of storage or something, it's like 99 cents per year. But I really like it, you can like. I'll do this one. You gotta make different notebooks and just regular. You can make flash copies.
All good now.
the required equipment's the 808 plant, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then night is the last one.
Yeah.
Alright, I don't know how we should say, you guys are all gonna have to like huddle around. If you wanna like stand behind, or if I can show it on here.
Before you go on your flight, where do you check the, that's that all the binder, all the annual and?
Now it'll have to be in this behind it, yeah.
So then how do we confirm? Do we confirm or we just assume? Because that's what I'm used to having. That is part of a binder where I was before.
You assume, but you don't. Like if you go to any other flying club, like +1, you're responsible for checking everything. Yeah. Yeah. How do I put, oh, there we go. Okay. Can everybody see? Bear with me. So we're gonna have 3 books, and this is very important because you're gonna have to do this before every check ride and everything. So I highly recommend knowing how to do this. You have 3 books. You're gonna have a propeller, the airframe, and then the engine. Most of the time they're gonna be tabbed. This plane came from Torrance, so of course it's not tabbed. But this is a newer plane. So what I always like to do is I always like to open up to the last page that has a sticker. This sticker, this is the engine book, by the way. It's going to show a 102-hour inspection, right? And it's based off the Hobbs time. So what we're going to look at is we're going to be looking at right here. So our Hobbs is 200.3. So you would have to look at the actual Hobbs time of the aircraft and determine if it's due for maintenance or not. So if the Hobbs time was 201.3, it is now unairworthy. So you're gonna be looking right here for the 100-hour. Then I like to go back. We have another 100-hour. This was a service bulletin that was fixed, and here's the initial. And then this is just an inspection. So obviously, where's the annual at, right? Why isn't there an annual in here? Well, some planes won't have an annual sticker in here because it's so new. So the 100-hour, you're going to see that, but the annual would be in here if it was an older plane. You would see the annual, look at the date, see what the date is when it's due. But since it's a new plane, there won't be one. So what we have to then look at is we have to look to see when it meets the requirements for an airworthiness certificate. So this sticker right here, November 6th, 2024, that's going to be the annual for this plane because it's a newer plane. Does Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because this is when the plane was manufactured. It hasn't been a year yet, so the annual hasn't happened. But now we are in this book. So we've determined the annual is good and the 100 hours good for the engine. We also know for the airframe and propeller, this is when the annual is going to be done since it's a newer plane and hasn't been a year yet. Starting in the back of the book. There we go. It's not really focused, but here's the 100-hour airframe inspection. So for here, once again, we're going to look at the Hobbs 200.3. The airframe and engine 100-hour done on the same day. So let's just assume the airplane's only at 180 hours right now. So do we need to do 100-hour? Are we over it? No, we're good. Going through, you'll see different things that might have been fixed. Other 100 hours. Different adjustments. Boom, here's the ELT. The ELT functional check was performed on December 17th, 2024. So when does the ELT need to be checked? What are the maintenance time frames for ELT?
1 year, 50%, 1 hour.
Yep, and remember, 12 calendar months. So it hasn't been 12 calendar months. 1 hour of cumulative use. That would probably be annotated if it was used. I mean, the airplane's new and hasn't been in an accident, so it probably hasn't been on. And then 50% of the battery life. Is that referring to your iPhone being charged to 100%, and then as soon as it hits 50%, you have to replace it? No, that's referring to this battery expiration of August 2031. That's the shelf life. So it's referring to 50% of the shelf life. So when this was installed from this date, right, this is probably when the ELT was installed, 50% from November 2024 to August 2031. That's when it has to be replaced. Does that make sense? So we've looked at the airframe, 100-hour and annual. We've looked at the engine, 100-hour and annual. We've looked at the ELT. The only other things we have to look at are the pedostatic system, the transponder, and then the VOR. VOR is not going to be in here though. Next, we have our propeller. We're going to open this up. Go to the last page. So here is the 25-hour propeller inspection, which means that they put in a new propeller or they re-pitched it, which brings us to this sticker right here, which was done at 201.0. The 25-hour inspection was done at 225.5. So you have to look. Sometimes they might have the 50-hour or 100-hour sticker as the very last one. You go off of that. But since this is a new propeller that was repitched, we have to look at when it was installed or adjusted, which for the 100-hour was done on 201.0. For the annual, I would probably classify it as when they repitched it. Then we're going to scroll through, see what we have here. There should be a transponder. Usually it's in the airframe. Right here. So I know it's blurry, but it says the static pressure system was inspected and tested, and the altimeter instrument was calibrated. The ATC transponder was tested and inspected in compliance with FAR 91-413. So usually the transponder and pedostatic and altimeter will be done on the same sticker on the same day. How often do we have to get this done?
24 calendar months.
Cool. And the date on here is November 18th, 2024. So when will it be due?
30,
30th?
31.
Whatever's the last day.
Yeah, 2026.
Cool. So at this point, we've gone through AV8s. We checked the annual for the propeller, engine, and airframe. the VOR, which you don't have to worry about for private pilot, but that's gonna be in the binder they actually take out to the plane. The 100-hour for airframe, propeller, engine, we looked at that. The altimeter, pitot-static system and transponder, we just looked at that. And the ELT, we looked at that. This airplane is airworthy. And that's it. There's gonna be a sheet that you can fill out. There's gonna be a sheet that you could fill out or get from dispatch that shows all it is pretty much like a chart where you write in when the inspection was done or the HOPS time the inspection was done and the day or HOPS time that it's due. And that'll just sort of organize everything we looked at in here. So when you meet with the DPE or face check, you can have it already filled out and then have this tab. And you just open up to the tab and be like, all right, looking at our sheet here, I put down that we did the inspection on this day, it's due on this day. It verifies with that. And that's it. So you'll just have to take more time looking at these because sometimes they're a little different and there's stickers missing that might be in other ones, and that could be because it's a newer plane, so it hasn't had an annual yet. Or that the propeller was repitched, or the new engine was installed. But typically speaking, all these dates will be pretty similar, unless they installed a new propeller, engine, or ELT on different days.
Yep.
What else? If nothing, we can end it here.
Yeah, just gonna. Right now, this book.
What are the electrical limitations? Like, if you're. Is that talking about like if your, generators go out?
Yeah, so that would be like the different failures, what's gonna happen. And then it would also be, maybe there's some like voltage limitations.
Like all the limitations?
Probably wouldn't be here.
$719.
Yeah, so I would say the limitations would be things like the volts and of the battery, the different failures, how that would, what would happen with the failures. So what would you lose with different failures? How do you respond to the failures? Drawing out the electrical system and like showing, like, all right, if we lose the battery, we're gonna lose the main bus and we lose X, Y, and Z, flaps, autopilot, stuff like that.
Loss of battery and then loss of ECU.
Well, if you lose generator B, you're only losing power to the battery, so you still have the ECU. If you lose generator A, you're now losing the charge to the ECU or power to the ECU. Generator B takes over, keep the engine running, but now the battery is not being charged.
Okay.
So then you would lose the things associated with the battery.
And then it's within like 30 minutes.
Right.
If you're lucky.
If you're lucky, it's most likely gonna be less.
Within.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
But from the POH, it says within 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
you-
and that's if you shed the workload, so you turn off all lights, stop using the radio, turn off autopilot. Dim the screens or turn off the screens, like that's gonna maximize your time that you have with the battery.
Okay. And that's kind of just your limitations with that.
I would say so, yeah.
And then for power plant limitations, talk about the engine.
Yep, so that would be that RHango 4 acronym to talk about the engine. But then the limitations would be like the RPMs, like what's the max RPM, what's the max continuous RPM for 5 minutes? What's our normal operating range for cruise flight?
The max like 5,800 for 5 minutes.
I've never seen that 5,800. So
I've never seen it on actual gauge itself, but I think that's what it says in POH, right?
yeah, you would, there's a chart in here.
And normal cruise flight's like 5,000.
Yep, 5,000 RPMs. Maybe like these speeds, but these charts right here are gonna be what you refer to for the engine. Like, right, the max starting temperature, minimum starting temperature, the oil temperatures, the different RPM settings. So max continuous is 55, max for 5 minutes, 58.
Spot for oil and fuel.
Okay, then yeah, it would just be like these things. Like
But
what's
for the
the
power plant, it would just be
probably the RPMs.
RPM,
Yeah,
EGT maybe,
maybe the EGT,
and then maybe coolant.
possibly. I think the big one, like when you do your pre-solo knowledge test, it's gonna ask about the RPMs
Yeah.
on there. So,
Okay.
but you would refer to the limitations, chapter 2 of the POH for all that limitations relating to the engine.
Okay. Is that coolant head temperature, CHT?
Yep, yep. Exhaust gas temperature for EGT. Yeah.
And then what would you say for weight and balance on this one?
Weight and balance, they're probably gonna have you do a weight and balance with your weight, their weight, how much fuel you can take. So that POH weight and balance, millimeters and kilograms, you're gonna have to do it that way. And then they'll probably ask like questions like, oh, how's our CG gonna shift as we burn fuel? How's our CG gonna shift if we add fuel? What are the 4.5 characteristics or the characteristics of 4.5 CG? Stuff like that.
Okay. And then as we add fuel, the CG will move forward.
Should move forward. We could look at the weight and balance. Right here using this. So the fuel is located more forward than where the passenger sits. So as you add fuel, it'll move forward. As you burn fuel, it'll move aft.
Yeah, as you burn fuel, it will move forward.
Aft.
Aft.
Yeah, because you see right here, the fuel
Yeah.
station is located more forward than the seat station.
And then, do you know what they kind of ask you for taxi diagrams and symbology?
Yeah, so they'll probably just have you they'll pull up a random one, probably for Gillespie. And then they're gonna ask you things about it. So they'll pull up this, right? And they're gonna ask you about like, what does this mean? Well, that's the length and width of runway 1735. What do these mean right here? What is this degrees? What does that mean? Stuff like that.
And that's the magnetic heading of the runway.
That's like the actual, yeah. So
magnetic.
Yeah. And then distance, this is in meters. I don't know why that's in meters and this is in feet. You have the distance, and then this right here, what is this?
Displays the threshold.
Create a displaced threshold.
Back to the meters, like the habits and meters.
They have meters and then feet underneath it.
Yeah,
Oh, I did not even see that. Yeah, there you go.
and then and then
And then usually they'll have a star. What does a star represent? That's where the power, the beacon is gonna be. So. Yeah, that's really it for that, for the taxi diagram.
I'll probably put like a picture of our diagram on it and then
Mhm.
I'll like label it 1, 2, 3, whatever,
Yeah.
and then we'll have to like say what it is.
Cool.
Yep.
Next week, we're gonna get into flight planning, the paper nav logs and the E6B, so.
Should I get one? Paper, not one.
No, that's just, we print that off from here. Yeah. Cool.
And then you're here any day next week?
I'll be here Monday and I'll be on Zoom. the
All right,
rest of the
Zoom
week.
folks, bye-bye.
Oh.
Nobody's on there.